soft top that's currently on do know is pretty terrible. It's the original one on the car, I believe. So this is the view that I get looking in the rear view mirror, and to be honest, this isn't even as bad as it gets. As you can see, this is in pretty bad shape. Fortunately, I was able to grab myself one for Mk2 for next to nothing with the glass window. So it is the vinyl one, it's not the mohair, but honestly it was so cheap. It can't be any worse than the current vinyl one that's on here anyway. So replacing the soft top is fairly straightforward. It's quite involved, but it's fairly straightforward. And it does help to have a helping hand, but I'm going to show you that this can be done with one person. Realistically, you only need to unbuckle it from the front and undo all of the hardware around the rain rail at the back, and then it should lift out pretty easily. You might find it helpful to remove the seats, just give you that extra bit of room. It's only 4 bolts, and unclip the wires underneath if you have them. And at the back, it's just a case of pop out all of these plastic clips, pull back the carpet just a little bit, and that should give you access to the rain rail. And then it's just 10mm bolts all the way around, 3 pieces of metal that make up the brace of the rain rail, and then pop that out, and you should be able to pull the bottom part of the soft top away from the car, and then the whole thing can lift out. Yep, taking the seat out, it's giving me a lot more room to work. And taking off all of the plastic pins, push pins. Now you could take this entire carpet out, but as you can see, those are the bolts I need to get to all the way around. So I'm just going to make do leaving this in because I don't want to have to take the whole carpet out. So next thing I'll do is take the plastic covers off to get to the hinges, and then I can start doing these bolts along the back. 10mm, 10mm. Phillips head, take this bit off. Push pin. Take this plastic clip off. Like that. T40 Torx bolts for the hardtop mounts. And then 12mm, 3 12mm bolts holding the frame off. And then 10mm bolts underneath all the way around. That's it. Now that both sides are done, I'm going to open the soft top so we can access the 10mm bolts all the way around, and that should loosen that up, and then we should be good to lift it out. So all those 10mm off and the rain rail support braces off. So you can see now, just pull this apart. If it's never been off before, then I believe that it should be riveted to the hardtop, but this one has been off before, as it wasn't even attached to the car when I bought it. So you might have to deal with that if it's an original Mk1, but these have been drilled out anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm probably just going to reuse this because I think this is in better condition than the one that came with the Mk2. So I'm going to take these off. like that. Now this is where an extra set of hands can be really helpful, because trying to make sure that all these stay off the studs whilst trying to take the soft top off is quite tricky, but I'm going to persevere. Now's a good time to go in and clean everything out. This isn't too bad in here, it's just a little bit dirty, but I might just run the vacuum around. So yeah, so if you're replacing the entire rain rail, then this is obviously the right time to do so. But this one is in really good condition, and it's actually a lot better than the one that came with the Mk2. So I'm leaving that there. I'm just going to drop the new top into there. And that's when it gets really tricky. So as you can see, the top one goes in absolutely fine, and the other two should as well. You see they're slightly misaligned. Now putting these bolts in should correct that, but to say installation is just the opposite of removal isn't really true, because you have to align these things on both sides and make sure everything lines up properly. You don't have to do that when taking things out. So it's a good idea to go and put the 10mm back on the studs when you've put the rain rail and the soft top together, push them together, so that way as you're working your way around and you're putting force on the material, you're not pulling it back off and undoing what you've done. So then once everything's in place, you can then put the rain rail support brackets back on and tension everything so that everything's aligned properly, and then go around and tighten up all the bolts final time. This is one of those times where the order does matter when it comes to reinstallation, because you want to do the back larger bracket before doing the side ones, otherwise you'll struggle to fit the back one in. So there's one thing that I've found, that these straps, you can see where they've previously been, heading towards this stud, but they're supposed to be on this one after a bit of research, because I was really struggling to make them work. So I just gave it a quick Google and found out that this is the one that they're supposed to be on, not that, which I'll explain why I was having difficulty closing the soft top. So now that's that issue sorted, I can get this put back up. One of the reasons having someone to help you with this is so important is because if you get situations like this, where this pocket here, as you can see, there's not really much for it to grab onto if the stitching isn't connected. So if you just go and install the soft top, you'll end up with these pockets like that, and it's not pulled tight, so it should be more like that. But obviously you can't attach the bolts on the inside whilst holding this like this. So what I'm going to do is try and prop the window up a little bit, and then use some Gorilla Tape and just try and hold it in place that way, just so it keeps some tension on here, so that when I bolt it together I can remove the tape and it should look more like that. So I'm just using this to prop the window up, just to keep it out of the way, just keep some tension on the roof. And I'm just loosely put a few bolts on, just so they're in place. I'm missing one, so I'm going to leave that middle one. So I believe the best order to tighten them is the outer edges first, then these ones in the middle if you've got it, and then the ones with the strap, and then like that, and the middles, and at that point it's pretty much fine. But if you can keep as much tension on it as possible, as you can see I've tried to use some Gorilla Tape to try and keep this aligned. So I'm going to try and put some tension on this outer piece here and push that in as much as possible whilst I'm tightening. So this side's got a little bit more slack because the window is sagging there where the stitch is broken. So again, I'm going to try and prop it up, keep as much tension in it as possible to get it all tightened up neatly, and that should be it. So you see my idea worked pretty well on this side. So unfortunately, because the window is sagging just a little bit, didn't quite get that tight look just there. So there's not much I can do about that. This would need pulling up in order to regain some tension there, but it's no worse than the last one anyway. So I've still got to put the rest of the interior together. So that's pretty much it installed. There we go. New top is on. Is it perfect? Nope. There's an improvement. Definitely. You can actually see out the back window now. And at least this side's better. And yeah, this could do with being a bit tighter, and I need to sort out the sagging of the top bit of the window, but it's air and watertight at least, whereas the other one wasn't. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in a bit.